Hello, everybody. I'm Lori Jovest, and it is Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and that's time for Pop Speed Digital Marketing's Hot Take Tuesday, where we talk about all aspects of digital marketing, social media, pop culture. You never know what we're going to pop up with. So, with me is Kylie Metcalf. Kylie is our senior staffer and my right arm when it comes to caring for our clients who do social media, digital marketing, different types of activities as part of our client roster. So, hey, Kylie, how you doing?
Good. Happy to
What
be
are we
here.
talking about today?
Today we are talking about agility in social media marketing and why it is so important. So, continuing on with our series of how to get ROI, agility is a key piece in this conversation. Our three key points here are we're just going to go over what do we mean when we talk about agility in social media marketing. We know it as like maybe something you think about in sports or in exercise, but let's use it in a different light today. We're going to cover some examples, and then we're going to wrap it all up with why it matters and why it's so important in your social media marketing efforts.
Absolutely. One of the things I would say, what agility means to me in marketing is to be able to respond to something happening culturally or on social in a way that serves your brand quickly. Because one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that will tell you about social is that it's the ability to respond quickly to something that's happening is one of the most important aspects. And this is an old example, but we'll talk about it. When the Super Bowl power went out a few years back, and Oreo had a social team at the ready, and they did the little post that said, "You can still dunk in the dark." Awesome. Perfect,
Right,
amazing social media, right? And then there was
exactly.
another one where Pharrell wore this really cool kind of funky hat to one of the award shows, and Arby's came back with, "Hey, Pharrell, we want our hat back." Hilarious. Those are the kind of things on, especially on big events, Super Bowl, Emmy Awards, those kinds of things. There are always a ton of people online that are talking about whatever that crazy activity is, from the political debates to, the
Mm-hmm.
Emmy Awards that we just had. People are all over Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram, talking about those events. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to be in that conversation if it's relevant to your audience. What else do you have to say about that, Kylie?
Just I think another key point here is that social media is a really fleeting environment, right? So when a
Yes.
trend pops up, something like any of those examples are prime perfect examples where if you wait too long, like on the night of the Super Bowl or the night of the Emmys, when
Yeah.
something big that you can pretty much guess at this point is going to take social media by storm
Right.
pops up, being at the ready to jump on it, because sometimes even if you wait a day, it's old news, let alone
It's
a
over.
week in
Yeah.
some cases to go through. For social media, generally speaking, I can speak for us. We have a pretty in-depth approval process, right? Like, we write our content, review it ourselves, go through it as a team, let our clients look at it, go through it again ourselves. In terms of trend jacking and being agile when something happens that you need to jump on really quick, you have to be able to trust your team or trust your manager to
Yes.
be able to jump on those things quickly, because if you really go through that whole typical process, you're gonna miss your window.
Yeah. Don't miss your window. Or at least make sure that the clients and everybody that needs to approve things knows that there
Mhm.
is a trend jacking opportunity and that there's a process in place. There are some trend jacking things that we see that you probably shouldn't do. So
Mhm.
before you jump on something that happens online, really give some thought to whether it's appropriate for your brand.
Mhm.
So agility is great as long as what you're doing is brand appropriate. The two examples I gave earlier, they're older examples, but they're just so on brand that it's
Yeah.
hard not to bring those up no matter how many years have passed.
Right.
So let's talk about corn. We all
Let's
love
talk
corn, and
about
the little
corn.
boy that sang the corn song, or the little boy that talked about corn, and then they made a song out of it, and it just went
Right.
viral. Tell me
Exactly.
about that one, Kylie.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example with how you wrapped that last slide up with things that are key to your brand or can make a difference for your brand in particular, right? So in this
Yep.
example, and I think it also speaks a lot to how TikTok specifically has changed the game when it comes to how important agility is. You'll have a
Yes.
sound that's trending for a couple of days, and then by the third day, it just gets annoying, right? So if everybody remembers the corn song, the corn kid from the state fair that
Yes.
everybody like dubbed an EDM song over and it was a whole thing, this is a really good example of where agility matters, right? If
Yes.
you are a restaurant or a farm or a grocery store where corn is on the menu or in the shop or whatever the case may be, that was a prime example for you to jump on, do a funny TikTok, use the sound, go viral, get more views, whatever the goal was.
Yeah.
Um, and you have to jump on that quick again because if you hit it in those first few days, maybe even a week with that one, it's great, it's still funny, everybody's thinking of how funny and cute that kid was. If you just miss the
It's
mark by
awesome.
even a day or two, it's annoying. Oh my gosh, my entire page is this song, I'm so over it, blah blah blah. And the
Yeah.
worst thing you can do is annoy your audience.
Yeah. And come in 2 to 3 weeks later because sometimes approvals there are some big brands that
Mhm.
have to go through legal. That's the other thing we wanna talk about briefly is as a brand or a commercial entity like an organization, a company, somebody that does marketing for profit, memes can be a little cagey. You probably do not have the rights to use some of those celebrity photos, some of those
Mhm.
like the actual video of the corn kid, you may not have been legally appropriate to do that. So if you have a legal department, make sure you've got a contact that can approve things quickly and really pay attention to whether you should be sharing those more
Right.
commercial memes because you want to be agile, but you don't want to get in trouble. For example, don't ever use the word Olympics. You can call it the
Mhm.
games. You can call don't use the word Super Bowl. You can call it the big game. But there's things like that that you have to be careful about when you're being agile that you make sure that you cover. So,
Mhm.
The Corn Kid was one of my absolute favorites. I could watch that over and over and over, but like everything
Right.
else it got old, right?
Right.
It got old over time and now it's just disappeared.
Right.
So, what's
Exactly.
next?
So to wrap it on up, we're going to talk a little bit more about why it matters and why it's so important. We've talked about how, we've mentioned a lot of times how important it is to stand out by fitting in. If everybody in your industry is hitting on this one trend or really jumping on this one cultural moment that can fit the industry or fit the brand, you don't want to miss out on that. We've talked about
Mhm.
missing the mark and being a little bit late and annoying your audience. And those are some of the worst things you can do, right? Is miss a
Right.
really good opportunity or come to it a little bit too late. And at that point, it's overdone, it's overplayed, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I think most importantly, when we speak to being agile in your social marketing, it's it's not to I want to make sure I choose my words properly here. It's not to say that the entire team, the entire marketing department needs to be scouring the internet or watching the Emmys with the intention of, okay, like what can I type right now? And you get no free time, right? That's
Yeah.
absolutely
We're
not
not
the
saying
goal
that.
here.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I could understand how some people might think that that gets misconstrued, but on the other hand, if you have an idea, run with it. If you have an idea, pose it to your boss and say, hey, I really think we should jump
Mm.
on this right now. Let me take the lead.
Yeah.
So I think making sure that on different occasions, or if you know a big event or a special holiday, or there's a trending sound on TikTok that you want to jump on, is circulating, having somebody or a team of people that are all kind of in that same spot mentally where they're looking for those things and it's a team effort can really
Mhm.
help with the social media marketing efforts ability to be agile
Yep.
and to do it consistently and not just a one-off instance.
Yes. I know what I worked on, and not everybody knows this, but I worked on some Kimberly Clark brands, Poise and Depend, which are focused on incontinence. We had a lot of fun with trend jacking.
Mhm.
With the Depend product, one of the things that our purpose in that work was to help reduce the stigma of incontinence. That 1 in 5 people in any crowd is has problems with bladder leaks, right? So we actually at one point did a post related to, I think, the Emmys or the Oscars, one of the big award shows. And we looked at the capacity of the theater. We divided that by 5. And on the night of that show, did you know that 365 people in this audience probably have incontinence? They probably have bladder leaks, as a way to just kind of get into the conversation and kind of try to normalize the idea that the stigma of bladder leaks should be eliminated, because there's so many people that suffer from it. So let's not stigmatize it further. Let's look at how common it is. And so those kinds of opportunities, they're not always going to hit the mark,
Mhm.
but you can get into the conversation, and by being agile and quick, you're going to be able to accomplish more for your, brand awareness, moving people to the top of the funnel, maybe further into the funnel, with an agile approach. So
Mhm.
that's what we've got for you today. Anything to add before we wrap up, Kylie?
I think just like two key things to leave everybody with are that to be agile takes trust in your team or in your agency, and to keep in mind that
Yes.
some things are worth the rush.
Yes. And some things aren't. If you come
Yeah,
up with an
exactly.
idea and your agency or your marketing partner says, Let's reconsider that," listen, because
Yeah.
some chances shouldn't be taken, if
Yeah.
they're going to have a negative impact. So that's what we've got for you today. See us again next Tuesday at 10 for another episode of Hot Take Tuesday. We also save these all on our YouTube channel. So go there, subscribe. We'd love some followers there. And if there's anything you'd like us to talk about, let us know. We love to talk about digital marketing, social media, email marketing, all kinds of things. And we'd love to hear from you. So that's what we have. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.